Welcome to Film
Hey,
Phreeks. This is
Austin.
Justin Llewellyn,
And Eddie Williams.
and tonight we're going to be doing a special audio review of a film that is possibly the longest gap between movies for a long period of time as far as Disney films go. And this is the Mary
Yeah, in
Poppins.
fact, not to cut you off real quick, I think we're like 3 or 4 years away, and the original's 60 years old already.
Yeah, this This is Mary Poppins Returned, which is the sequel to the 1964 classic Mary Poppins, which originally starred Julie Andrews as Mary Poppins, and this one picks up about 30 years later after the events of the original film, or it's about 35 years after the original film, and you have. This one is directed by Rob Marshall and stars Emily Blunt, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Ben Whishaw, Elmer Mortimer, Meryl Streep, and Colin Firth as well, and Dick Van Dyke. And this is basically tells the story.
Which is a surprise.
Yeah, and this film takes place 35 years after the original Mary Poppins, where you have the two kids from the original film are grown up, and one of them, who is the boy, who's played by Ben Whishaw here this time. His kids are living in the same house that are from the original film, and there's a circumstance that happens to where he ends up going into financial problem with the bank, and he's on the verge of losing his home. And basically, he in order to try to save the bank, he has to locate this kind of will, this kind of document that was left by his father from the original film, and
which was worth a ton of money.
Yeah, and while this is happening, pretty much we get Mary Poppins who comes back this time. And this time she's played by Emily Blunt, and she's there to be a nanny for the kids while all this is going on. And we'll kind of leave it at that because that's really the basic plot point of how the movie goes. But
Yeah.
here's
Now, a little backstory. It was 64, so 54 years old right now. I haven't seen the original since I was a little kid, but I do remember it's still considered like an all-time classic.
Yeah, me too. I remember I remember watching it when I was like really little, the original Mary Poppins, but it's been, and I remember enjoying it when I was a kid, but it's been so long since I've seen it, so I can't really go too much into it. But I remember some of the songs they had, and some of the characters were fun, especially you had Dick Van Dyke, and you had, Mary Poppins herself, things like that. So, and, I can't really judge the original film because it's been so long, but this really kind of threw me off that they were doing a sequel many years later. In fact,
see, at first I thought they were rebooting it.
Yeah,
that's what I was worried at first. Which I'd rather see a sequel than a reboot.
Yeah, because it seems like from the previews I was kind of thinking to myself like, okay, are they just gonna reboot the original Mary Poppins? And it's like, no, it's actually a sequel, and and from just the teaser trailer, it kind of got me curious because of the whole, they were bringing back like a instrumental version of the theme song from the original film, and so going into it, I wasn't like very hyped for it, but I still went into kind of hoping it was going to be good. And upon seeing it, I can say that
I was really anxious to see what Emily Blunt was going to do, and the visual effects kind of was there for me to convincing for me to go see it.
Yeah. And upon seeing it, I can say that this movie was quite charming. It was pretty good.
Yes. It was pretty good.
Yeah. And so to get my pros out of the way, Emily Blunt, she's probably to me the biggest highlight of this movie the most. Like, she is everything that captures Mary Poppins, not only in her actual performance, but also her singing and everything is so wonderful in this.
Yeah, she is wonderful in this film. She is the best highlight of this film. Not only that, she channels the actual, not in a bad way, but she resembles the original lady, Julia. I can't remember her name.
Julie Andrews. Yeah, Julie Andrews. And yeah, she does. She not only is she funny at times, but she's also, she's very, she could be a little snippy, but not like, not really like, she's basically she's very caring, and she carries a lot. Well, she carries this whole movie a lot for me. And My other biggest praise, and the performances are the rest of the performances are good too.
Hey, I got cut off.
Oh,
I got cut off when I was talking about Emily Blunt.
all right. Well, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, Emily Blunt. Yeah, you're right, man. She's like the best highlight of this film. She nails it to the T. Her performance is like amazing, and she does resemble the lady. I can't remember, Julia something.
Julie Andrews.
Andrews, yeah, she resembles her a lot.
Yeah,
I think this was a smart casting choice right here.
Yeah, it was, and and the rest of the performances are great too. I especially like the other guy who's the guy Jack, who in real life is a real singer named Lin-Manuel Miranda. He was really great too. He had a lot of charm and wit, and he had a lot of energy in a lot of the musical numbers that he did too, especially when
he was fantastic. He pretty much is playing the chimney guy in this one.
Yeah, he's actually he's actually the apprentice of Bert, who was Dick Van Dyke's character from the first movie. So they actually bring.
And I also like the three the kids too.
Yeah, the kids were great too. You know, they had their own they had their own little they were great as well. And one of my other biggest
there's something important. There's something I want to mention now. It's on my mind. I kind of want to bring up. What I really liked, and a lot of people probably don't notice this, but you know how the original kids that was in the Harry Potter, not Harry Potter, the first two, the old, the parents the sister and the brother who were in the original, and now they're growing up. Well, the brother has the kids, and it's funny because they actually kind of resemble the boy, the father. It kind of plays out like Hook, where they bring up events how he forgot.
Yeah,
everything he did with Mary Poppins, and it's like in the end he starts laughing and realizing he can fly and all that, and remembers. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Hook.
Yeah, it does. Or even earlier this year we had Christopher Robin that did that.
Yeah, basically it's like I just stated, the little boy in the 60 version, now he's now all grown up and has these kids. He forgot every event that with all the cool stuff Mary Poppins did for him.
Yeah.
And basically, it's like Hook, it plays off where he's kind of an ass in a way because he's so stressed out about bills, and he basically tells Mary Poppins, even though she's there, he's pretty much thinking that it was all a dream. It never happened.
Yeah,
he forgot.
Yeah, and it plays out to the themes of childhood in this, because not only is she trying to teach the kids about having an imagination stuff where all the musical numbers come in, but it's about finding your childhood again, which I thought is a really good message that works for this movie. And
that is a good message because that reminds you of Hook.
Yeah, and the rest. Now here's the other biggest praise I have the most too. The visual effects in this, they are outstanding.
Oh my God.
They were on top.
The visual effects were top of their game on this visual effects.
Yeah, this is to me probably the most visually stunning films that I've seen all year. This movie not only captures a lot with the effects when it shows her flying and stuff, but the actual imagination that's built in with these musical numbers is out of this world. We have sequences where she's going in underwater and stuff with the kids, and then you have other sequences where I kid you not, it actually goes into traditional animation, something we haven't seen in over decades on this.
Yes, that is true. A lot of stuff that tries to do live action with animation today, it's usually newer technology, but in this one they went with the smart move and actually did the same animation we saw in Snow White, Bambi, even the original Mary Poppins, the back in those days animation. It blended perfectly. Yeah,
it was almost like I was watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit again, because they actually combined live action with traditional animation again, and I was like, wow.
And you know what, I know people are probably going to get annoyed at me comparing this to Hook again, but there's a segment that reminds me of Hook again, because remember in Hook they do a segment where at the end of the movie Hook, you start realizing people live in the neighborhood, and when he comes back to just regular London again, that there were people from the Hook story, you know, like Smee was like a janitor guy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, in this one, they kind of do something similar because when they're in that cartoon segment, there's an evil like cartoon guy stealing shit from them, and he has like a clock. He's actually imitating the villain and the dude at the end of the movie that's trying to steal his house.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and and also one of the other things I got to really appreciate too is, for the most part, I really got into the musical numbers as well. Like, they're very catchy. They have a lot of energy to them. And, in fact, one of my favorite ones is the very first one that Mary Poppins goes with the kids, where they're going underwater and stuff. It's the Can you imagine that song? And they are really, you know, they really capture all the magic like the first movie did. Like, a lot of the nostalgia is there, a lot of the, you know, the beats are there. You know, it all really captures the magic from the first movie.
Exactly. I thought that the music had great energy.
Yes.
You know.
And the other thing I'll say too is the score as well. It also kind of plays into some music that was reminiscent of the first movie that they kind of go into that I enjoy as well. I also got to enjoy that, you know. Now, if I had like really any minor cons, I'd say that toward the end of the film, and this is just kind of a minor thing, they do kind of seem like they sideline a little bit of Mary Poppins to the point where, if you kind of look at the plot, the way it's going through, they don't really like use her much for the actual like resolvement.
Closure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really don't. It's like she stepped to the side because then they start really focusing on, you know, this. It starts ignoring pretty much even the kid part. It's more like the dad trying to get his house, and this dude they're focusing on who's like a kind of a villainous guy where he's a dirty banker and he's trying to steal the house, and he's trying to lie on purpose to get their house.
Yeah.
And this is where they start really underusing her, which surprised me too, because like when they underuse her, she does whatever she does like at the last second, and then she pretty much says, you know, my work is done, and she flies off.
Yeah.
I was like,
and that kind of plays.
You know, I was a little that, and another thing, there is something that I guess kind of cheap here. I guess they did it to just drag on the story to give it more suspense. There's a segment where these guys have to like try to do something with time, and it had something to do where it involves flying, and Mary Poppins could have flown and got that done easily.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they were kind of going with that whole moral about, you know, letting people do things on their own. But I get that. Yeah. I get what they were going for. But when you look at it on the way the plot goes, it really feels kind of pointless. Doing that.
Well, it ends up being pointless because eventually they do use her, meaning that whole build-up led for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like they were trying to get up there. It's like, okay, and she goes, and then she flies up there. So that kind of like, yeah. And another thing, really, there ain't much cons I have with the story other than, for what it's worth, I give it a lot of respect for what it did. In a way, it's not fair for the movie, but it really kind of goes out of my taste a little bit. But the entertainment's still there.
Yeah. Same here, and the kind of going with the story, like as far as the way that it kind of goes, it is very predictable how it all plays off.
Yeah.
Because you've seen this, you know, this kind of story done millions of times, and I can't really compare it to the first movie because I haven't seen that in a long time. But as far as the way that, you know, the way the musical numbers come in and the way the plot itself plays out, you really know how it's going to pay off. So. But with that being said, though, I mean, given for what it is, I had a really good time with this movie.
I did too.
And so with that, with the entertainment value and everything, with the musical numbers and Emily Blunt, like all the outstanding, you know, production design and everything, it really holds a lot of great entertainment. And with that, I'm going to give the movie a compelling grade on the Film Phreeks meter.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you on that. Compelling grade on the Film Phreeks meter.
Fair enough. And for those of you who have also seen Mary Poppins Returns, and also the first film, and also the books that these movies are based off of, let us know in the comments below of what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel, and check out some of our other reviews here and our website at filmphreeks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Alrighty. Later.